Welcome back, everybody. Well, the truck is nearly complete.
It's really changing color. This is actually a turquoise color. It looks blue on the small.
Alright, moving shit around the shop. Gotta get the mixer set down where it belongs on the frame. See how much fun that ends up being. Progressing along very nicely. Getting some hose run. Got the motor in there. Making some progress here. Hopefully they'll get us sometime before Christmas of 25. Morning. Update on this awesome little rig here. Getting down to a few things left, getting some fenders on it, waiting on a drive shaft yet, as usual, but we have this end all solved. Final thing we're gonna do, once we got it all up and running, is put the hood on. We don't want to damage the hood, so just want stuff to look a little bit nice. Beautiful little modification to the front motor mount to drop the engine to get drive shafts to line up correctly.
Got the hood on this morning and Tony is putting the stickers on. Starting to do the finishing touches.
So we're gonna head over there. We're gonna have Chris go through everything he's done with that bad boy. Hopefully next week they're gonna bring it over here. And that's what's happening on Ranching Sodak. We're gonna be going over to Maxville Truck and Repair, Chris Lundstrom's outfit over there. The last video you kind of saw that cement truck. We started tearing it apart, and they've got the wagon. We got a wagon, brand new wagon from Val Metal, link down below. You wanna go check out Val Metal. I think they're the best wagon out there. We've had one for 7-8 years. Now we bought the second one to go on a truck. No reason to change. The thing has worked great ever since we've had it. So we're going over to see Chris Craft tonight. We're gonna hang out with them. Those are some friends we met through the Riverview deal when me and Dane went over there and or took those mats to Riverview. Chris is hooked up with Luke there. We'll be hanging out with them tonight, checking out his place, and then we will pick you up in the morning over at Maxville Truck and Repair. Buckle up, folks. We're cheeseheads. We're in Wisconsin now.
Whoa, buddy.
Anyways, now we're at this other Ellsworth creamery. So the last video you watched there, we were in the actual, I think it was actual in Ellsworth. This one's in Menominee, and they have an Ellsworth creamery. We're gonna go in there and see if we can't get ourselves a few curds, then we're off to Chris's house. Well, we landed here at the Chris Craft Ranch right here. The Chris Craft bunch. So when I was snooping around, because I was a little bit early, so then I ran into a sap extraction maple syrup business guy, which turns out that the kid works with Chris down at the big farm down there. So we're gonna cruise over there and see how the old maple syrup business works. But there's Chris and his wife Carla, so you'll see a little more of those in a bit. So we were just driving by here waiting to go over to Chris's, and then I saw all these pipes down in this little ravine. Or what do you call this? You call it a ravine, or you call it just the woods, or what do you call it? Ravine. So there's like 400 trees tapped here, all maples, and then this line goes down. You probably can't see that, but down in there they got like a probably 300 or 500 gallon holding tank, and now he's pumping it up into here. So that's pure sap. Is that what they call it, a sap? So here's Mark, he's the dad. Then they're gonna take it to they sell the sap right to the evaporator guy, and then he runs it through a reverse osmosis, and then they cook her down and make syrup. Ends up on your table. She's full. Tastes like water. There's a tiny, tiny bit of sweetness, but what's it take? 40 gallons to make 40 to 1 on good sap. So there you go. That sucker's 425 gallons. So what's that? 10 gallons of syrup then, probably. So we're at the evaporator, and he's got a reverse osmosis machine too. But here's that must be the whole evaporator. Yeah, you can see those are the chimneys, or that's probably the chimney. Is that air?
Chimney, and then the steam air.
Steam air coming out. So I don't know how long he's got to run it through this reverse osmosis. Let's go check that out. So Keaton said, Keaton or Keegan?
Keaton.
Keaton. Yeah. So he said it'll take like almost 80% of the water out before they put it in the evaporator, which saves a ton of cooking.
So these are all like filter membranes.
Yeah.
Take all the stuff on the sap.
Wow. It looks pretty high tech to me. I wonder how many gallons this thing will hold. There, turn that again. No, there's a jar of fresh syrup. Wisconsin maple syrup. He said this evaporator holds 300 gallons when it's full, and then it's constantly bringing it in from the concentrate of the reverse osmosis machine, and then it'll come out here when the temperature's right. The syrup starts coming out here, goes right into here, and then you press the syrup when it's done? Or
Filter press, so it's got filter paper.
when do you filter it?
When it comes off while it's hot.
So you're filtering the hot syrup then, and then it'll
Pumps it through, it's all air powered.
Yep,
Just
and then
pumps all the impurities out, the sugars, the sands.
And then once it's done there, you're going right into a 55-gallon drum, and then that's ready for wholesale. Wow. 100 gallons of syrup per hour when she's up and running. The evaporator is heated by fuel oil, diesel fuel. Major sap delivery time right now. He's pumping. We got the Jimmy Big Rigger coming in here with his sap run. We got this pump down. How much did we make?
I haven't done the math yet.
Well, roughly. Couple thousand?
Couple hundred probably.
Couple $100. That's good beer money.
Yeah.
We got to get out of the way. We got another shipment coming in here. So now from the sap shack, we went over to Chris's shop here. He says he thinks I should have a shop, but I said, then I just have to work more. And Sassy Pants always wants me in the house, you know, to chase her around and things like that. Is that right? Yeah. Pretty nice shop. They're pretty handy. They've been working on this tractor. Then I was looking at this hoist. He built that back in the day out of I-beam and pivots over there at the top. So pretty nice.
Oh, this is the log cabin?
Yeah, this is the log.
You don't see that every day.
Is this the cozy area where you...
So now we're in Chris's mom's house. She's 93, giving us a tour.
And this is the log cabin, Matt.
Yeah.
This room was the log cabin.
Oh, wow. She's 100% Norwegian and 93 years old? Are you 93?
Gonna be.
Gonna be.
June.
All right. Well, at least you're still really living. He's got you.
Say, well, you put that thing down. Say.
All right, we're packing up here from the Craft Ranch. He had a couple of silage tarps that they went to all bagging. We got that from the co-op, so snagged that from him. And got the #1 helper, Trevor, here watching to make sure everything goes good. All right, stand by. We made her, folks. Not to give Chris a bad time, it looks like there's actually 5 times more things here going on now than when we were here the first time. So he's got this massive lot, and there's equipment, pumper stuff, and tractors and trucks all along the highway and all over here and then all around back. Hopefully we're gonna get the full tour and see what's up. So first we got to go jump the secretaries and catch them off guard because they don't want to be on camera, but little do they know they're gonna be on camera.
Hey guys, how are you?
Gotcha.
Gotcha. We're back.
Really good. Where's the boss? Can I go through here?
Absolutely.
All right. How's it going, guys?
Good, how are you?
Good. Oh, here's the boss. Half boss. The guy that takes all the grief. There's Ted. Must be break time, 10 o'clock. Oh, I can see the top of her from here, boys. Did that rubber show up? Is there a rubber thing? Is it on?
It's starting.
Oh, they're working on it?
Yeah.
Anybody been bullying you about the color I picked?
Oh, we've heard something.
What kind of guy is this?
Everybody calls it the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It looks like a turtle from the front.
Oh, been fun though, hasn't it?
It is.
That's a pump that's going to be on a trailer, huh? Or a couple of them you're making them.
Yep.
Wow.
Right.
Oh boy, here she is.
I hear voices.
Oh yes. Holy cow.
Oh, she looks way better in person.
Oh my gosh. Well, are you sick of looking at the thing or not?
Never get sick of looking at them.
Good to see ya.
Nice to see you too.
Oofta.
He has been drooling waiting for this. How are ya?
Holy crap. Look at there.
Sorry it's taking so
Oh
long.
no, it's great. Wow, this thing has been chill out forever. Oh,
I saw one just like it on my way over here.
Yeah, right.
I think we're one.
Nothing.
I think we're one in the world right now.
There's nothing.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
I think we're one in the world as of right now.
And it's gonna be so practical.
Yeah.
Like, other than the fun colors and the stickers, the rest of it is all for use.
Right.
You know?
It got awful high though, but I mean, some of them,
Yeah, the bling is probably the easier
like
side.
of the regular ones though, when they do, they get pretty tall though.
They
too,
do.
don't they? I
They
mean,
do,
they're
yeah.
the dairy ones. They're 11, 12. Yeah. I'm gonna have to put a different door on that shed.
Yeah.
But I got the telehandler, so we'll be able to. Yeah. So here's the grill. You can see that they cut out our ranching Sodak in there. Did you guys get some lights in there? Was there some lights that were? Oh yeah. We'll see how they turn on. Oh yeah. Yeah, you're able to see that. Turn the strobes on. You got to switch for those or no? So we got these on there too, so nobody's gonna mess with us now. Good night.
Oh yeah, I see.
He's got a button in here and I don't know where it is.
It's down inside.
Right?
Oh yeah.
I love though when there's plenty of lights. I hate driving something.
This is separate from what you normally would use.
No, not necessarily. The old school methodology is an electronic flow control. And electronic flow control then slows all your hydraulics down. We'll utilize a valve that has individual proportional sections to it, and it's got a self-compensating inlet. You can have your apron chain on and adjust your door open and close, and the chain should hold its speed.
So basically there's fluid can come in full bore into one, it can come in half speed in one, or
Yeah.
medium, or wherever we want in another one.
Yeah, and you don't have
I mean,
anything
you don't have anything
nothing
super critical sensitive
here.
to do it that way. No.
I mean, they make a step up from this where it's actually CAN bus controlled and has feedback in it, and it precisely moves it exactly to where it goes.
Oh.
This one here can be a little bit weather dependent. If it's super cold weather, you may have to crank your dial up to get your speed to get everything to work correctly.
Right. So what's this here now? This is going to be called
That's
this
the
is
big power.
This is the motor.
That's the motor that drives
This is the
mixer.
hydraulic motor.
Yep.
And then you have, it looks like big lines. What are these lines?
They're inch
lines?
6,000 PSI lines.
Going all the way back, and the pump
All the way
is
back to the pump.
going to be back at the back of the.
Yep.
So the engine is the back of this thing. This is, if you've made it this far, this is how this thing works. The engine sits at the back.
Yep, so the pump, so there's really 3 pumps in this pack. So let's start with the hydrostat. The hydrostat is the main power unit. That guy's kind of dumb. He just takes a command from a dial and he either proportionally gives you flow or on off. Now we're on offing because you just need 1 speed, okay? So we got it on off. But the
Okay, let me
charge-
stop you 1 second. So this thing's turning all the time, coming off of the
Correct.
crankshaft.
The
Crankshaft.
engine crankshaft is driving that pump. So
And
that's
this
called
pump-
live power.
And this thing is running all the time.
Yep.
But it's not necessarily sending any fluid anywhere.
Yes and no. So some fluid is going somewhere for different parts of the hydrostat. So a hydrostat has a charge pump. The charge pump's job is to fill the pump and motor loop. So think of that loop. Think of each one of my hands. One's a pump, one's a motor, and then you got this loop. Okay, the power transmission is happened by the differential in pressure between the high side and the low side. So the bigger the load that comes on, you have a higher pressure. Well, that differential is what creates that horsepower, i.e. more flow is more speed, more pressure is more torque.
Right.
Okay, so this will have a similar torque at a low RPM as it does at a high RPM. If that makes sense.
It'll have similar torque, lower speed.
Yep.
Because then once your speed of your engine would come up, your torque will not go much more higher, but your speed will go maybe higher.
And
okay. Yes. So then we got, that's this guy.
Yep. So the charge pump draws the oil from the tank, fills the loop, filters the oil, filling the loop, and then all the excess. Once the loop is full, that's a positive displacement pump. That pump will then go over the charge pressure relief, and that's for cooling and filtration. So the charge pressure relief lets that amount of oil slip out of there. Okay, that oil that slips out goes to cooling and returns back to the tank to get picked back up in the loop. Now we, through past experience with these hydrostats, know that that's not quite enough cooling under certain circumstances.
Sure.
Very warm weather, super high loads.
And you got, this is the cooler right here, I take it. And that's, wasn't on the truck before?
There was a version on there for the cement mixer, much smaller in a different location.
Yes. And that is electric fan.
Correct.
And that turns on and off when needed, or does it run
based
all
on temperature.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we want that oil to get up to a specific temperature
For the viscosity and all that stuff to work properly.
Yes.
Yes. Gotcha. So then once that's all up and going, and then that's the actual.
So the auxiliary pump, that guy's job, we're actually using it for two purposes. Its primary purpose is to do your auxiliary functions, your apron chain, your door, and your discharge chute up and down. However, it's positive displacement. It's always got oil going through it. We utilize an open center proportional valve, and we take the return oil and also run it through the cooler. So I like to call it my kidney loop. So basically, when you're not using any of that function, that extra oil is going through a cooler and going through a filter. So we're polishing that oil clean all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, instead of using, if I would have used
normally,
a piston pump,
it would have just, once the oil was in there, it would have just been used oil being used and never, and maybe that oil never gets a chance to go back into that tank. It could, I mean, some of it does always, but some of it could be trapped in there infinitely in a loop, never leaving the pumps or the motors.
Yes, well, that's the charge pump purpose. The charge pump is to clean the loop on the high pressure hydrostat. That's what's transmitting the big power for the actual mixer.
Yeah.
So
and then
a little bit of hydraulic.
The bail arm, that is still going to be powered off of the original side.
The original.
So we actually have 3 pumps, or four pumps of hydraulic on this thing.
So this pump was originally on the machine, and it's got the perfect flow, and the valve worked out perfect for that bail pickup.
Yeah, we were able to use the same joystick or the same lever in there that they used for their spout above their cab, you know, to up and down and side to side.
And it's very handy because it's right there.
Yeah.
Get your hand right there. Yeah, I mean, it was a perfect utilization of recycling what was on here. The hydrostat was not conducive to utilizing for the way we had to run this mixer, so that's why we had to put a different style.
Yeah. The shaft you talked about during the build, we can see that it's got a slight, it's nearly straight, but it's not quite. That was a challenge. You guys had worked on that. And
it was a severe angle, and because of the size of the pump, we couldn't fit it in there any differently. So how do we deal with the severe angle? Well, we lowered the front of the motor about 2.5 inches.
Right, because there was really little to no room to raise that pump up.
No, the radiator was in the way.
Yeah,
it just was not enough space to do it.
And then like we talked, you got the hood got in the way. I mean, if you would have started bringing this back and raising it up, you would have just had more hood issues, and makes sense now. Nice.
So in the part of that process, I mean, part of that is we had to trim the fan just a little bit. We took about a half, 3/4 of an inch
because of lowering the engine down.
Lowering the motor, you see that clearance right there. She's pretty tight.
Now, remind me, does this fan blow out?
It blows out.
Yeah. So like when the truck was in service driving down the road, you weren't trying to pull air in as you're driving. So it'd be interesting to see how the dust and stuff, it should stay fairly clean, I would think. But
I would think so, but you'll deal with some cleaning out, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Everybody that's got a mixer truck does.
Yes. Engine, we got a C10 Cat. What's the horsepower? What do you think these are rated? Are they right at 300 or a little over?
No, it's either 335 or 350, and I can look on the tag and tell you.
Sure. And then our pump CC, what were you talking about?
105 cc.
105 cc's.
Yep. Yep. So, and that's a 210, so it's a 2-to-1. So when this is spinning 1,000, that's spinning 500. But that's an HMR Lindy 210, which means hydraulic motor regulated. Well, what that means is it's sprung to min and it shifts to max under load. So we have that set around a 4,500 PSI differential. So sprung to min means it's gonna dumb itself down. I should say dumb it down. It's gonna reduce its displacement. Let's just say it's 105. So it's gonna speed up.
It's like a centrifugal clutch in a sense, kind of, with the way
it senses the load, and it proportionately, as the load drops off, it'll speed up. So it'll minimize its displacement. So smaller displacement there means that it'll speed up. All right. So when you load something heavy in here, a big bucket of corn silage or a great big round bale, and this thing needs power, it'll maximize its displacement out at 45. So it'll try as hard as it can up to 4,500. Then at 4,500, that's the begin of its shift to maximum displacement. So in other words, what happens is you get this big load on here, it will slow it down a little bit, but it'll have the power to be able to do it. But you'll get clean out speed as you get empty. This thing will start speeding up, which will help you clean out fast.
Yeah.
Maximum efficiency, I guess would be right.
Right. And then this is automatic transmission, Allison transmission.
Yep, HD 4560.
Does it have its own fluid or a cooler, or how does this transmission work?
Yes, it does. So this has automatic transmission fluid in it, and that has a cooling loop that comes up into the radiator. So that would be these hoses right here.
Okay.
You got a line here and you got a line there. So it's almost like a car would be. There's a cooler in the bottom of this radiator, bottom tank of the radiator.
So not a huge coil thing, it's just this cooling block.
No, it's just inside. It's just a bar fin plate inside there.
Is there a filter for this?
Actually, there's filters in the transmission. So there's two filters you service in the bottom of the valve pan, is what I.
Is that? What's your experience with them? As far as it's a closed system, though, it really can't get too dirty, right? It's a closed system.
You're basically taking your clutch plate stuff that's coming off the clutch plates as this shifts. Every time it shifts, a little bit leaves. Yeah. You know, and the harder
you're pulling or pumping or whatever.
Yeah, if you're trying to make a shift out in the mud and you're spinning your tires and it's laboring, if the motor's laboring really hard, you know, that's obviously shifting a little bit harder, and it's got to slip a little bit more to make that transition from one speed to the other.
Right. But they're good transmissions.
They're excellent.
These are pretty hard to do. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And the Cat too. I think those are great.
Yeah, and these are not
great engines.
I would say these are less than half of their life has been utilized.
What is the hours on this thing? Did you ever look? Because it was pretty low miles. I remember the miles were fairly low.
I don't remember for sure. It was in either the upper teens or the lower 20s. I just don't remember.
Which isn't a terrible amount. No. I mean it's
garbage trucks come in here with 45,000 hours on them.
Yeah. Crazy.
In the tractor world, holy cow, they're worn out at 10,000 hours.
But that's different. These were driving down a road at not pulling a plow for 20,000 hours.
Exactly.
She's awful high. We knew that was going to get high, but we got the telehandler.
That's why you got the telehandler, exactly.
Right.
So our biggest hang up right now is this drive shaft. Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm told I should see it Thursday, Friday at the latest.
Yeah. Not a very big one. Looks like a couple foot long, or 18, 20 inches long is all. And that'll have a knuckle on it to grease, but there's really going to be not a lot of grease.
No, there's not a lot of grease points on this whole rig.
Fuel tank. This is the air tank.
Yep.
So we got air brakes all the way around, I assume.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, remember, you got a 2-speed transfer case here too.
So I go into granny low.
You go into granny low. You drive out in the field. I would be, if you're going to go in a muddy situation.
Anytime you're in a field, there's no reason not to be in low.
Stop, throw the transmission in neutral, hit low.
You're off. You're going. We put a bale bed on not a bale bed, but a bale grabber. This was a 3-point jobber that these guys tweaked the hookup and designed.
Yeah, played with that geometry to get.
And they copied kind of just like what's on the bale bed pickup, where this cylinder actually becomes part of the ram length, because the cylinder has to become part of the linkage. Yes. And in order for that to not buckle, then they had to put this channel iron here in a roller bar, or a roller, like a bearing. I guess it's a bearing, but it's not going to roll much. And that's what holds it from kicking up or down.
Yep.
But yet gives this full range of travel as this thing will come all the way down to the ground.
It puts the power of your lift where it needs to.
Right in the middle part where you need to lift it Yes. Yeah. It was kind of a pain, but they enjoyed figuring it out, I think.
Oh, it was absolutely fun. No sarcasm included.
No sarcasm included. He's hiding. Well, he's the painter.
Yeah, there's the painter. You gotta get him on there.
Steve was, yeah, you were already on there, but you were had your bee suit on so nobody could see you. So he's the guy that had to paint it the color I wanted, which nobody's been bullying them. Did you fall in love with the color after you started?
I do like the color.
He likes it. He likes it. Yeah. Turned out good. And what was the kind of paint you guys used? Because that was like that, we talked about that black epoxy dumpster paint is what
it's got an epoxy primer and then a polyurethane single stage.
In it, or I mean,
on it,
or whatever. So you painted the truck and then you had to spray with did you have to spray with a coating then, or was it in the paint?
This one's just got primed and painted. Everything that made the shinies in the paint.
Yeah. So that the glossy, what you normally would have done, like what they called a gloss coat or a clear coat. Yeah, clear coat. This doesn't have it. It's kind of mixed in the paint itself, so that's why it's shiny. She's definitely one of a kind. Well, you did a dang good job. I was joking with Ted. I said, well, I was going to call or text him and say you missed a spot when you were sending me but I don't think you missed a spot. I think you got. I think
found one yet.
You got everything covered.
This color, it's easy to miss a spot.
I see Val Metal raise this cylinder up, and I'll have to measure my door. I'm wondering if the door almost looks wider on this wagon than mine. Like the width here could be wider. I'll have to do some measuring because my bracket is down lower. So unless they either put the cylinder hooks on higher on the door or something, but I noticed something was different. And then on this wagon I had Val Metal, they put an 8-inch extension up there. So that there is added on, and then there's a taller 14-inch conveyor or rubber on the top. So it's kind of extra capacity. Got a camera here, so I'll be able to look into the wagon to make sure my door's flowing. I think the screw is heavier now a little bit, and then they have what they call the extra sweep. So we got the main sweep, the part of the flighting there, and then over here there's a 180, they call it a secondary sweep. So every time the door comes around, you only have to wait half the time. So on mine, it comes around, kicks feet out, you gotta wait for a full revolution, but this is gonna have 2. So it'll be kick out, kick out, kick out, kick out. It speeds up your unload time. Yeah, there you can see the belting, it's taller. This thing's awful tall, but that's why we got the telehandler. So this thing is freaking awesome. I should be able to hold 13 to 15,000 pounds of a mixed ration with roughage in there now with this height. Val Metal's nice and fat, so you have quite a bit of capacity versus the other companies with single screws. They get awful narrow and kind of funnely, where this one's, they call it the fat mix, so it's awful big. So we're down in the cockpit. This thing's only got room for one person. Well, you could get another person in here sitting on the step, but this bad boy is to run this thing runs the bail grabber, and then the controls, I'm not 100% sure on what all these, but this is all the controls to run speed of hydraulics and the apron on, and looks like I've got a fan, or it must be the mixer on. Okay, TMR mixer on. Open the door, shoot up and down, and then the apron on. And then we got a backup camera here, which will give me, I can see straight out the back on the road. So this was just an Amazon deal we picked up early on the process. But there you can see, we'll be able to look right in, watch the apron, see how the feed's coming out, and then, Ted, how do you switch it, do you think?
I think it's the button right beside mower.
Okay, so now the hood is up, so we're looking at the cement, I guess. Yeah, this is the very back of the, yeah. He'll go throw the hood down. So we got a shifter here. It's an automatic transmission like he talked. And then you got all your lockers. You can lock your axles. You can lock your front. You can transfer case low to high. So it's got a super low range granny gear type thing. Okay, here they are lowering it down. So now that's looking straight out the back. So if we're going down the road, you can look in your mirrors, but you can also see that if there's a car right up on your tail. I can see right out, I was wondering about this, they got these little side windows here, and that'll be awful close, but I bet you my mirror, once the air seat's up, I'll be higher. I mean, you'll be pumped up. And then that mirror right there definitely is gonna be able to show the feed. You can see the feed there, easy. Be able to look in the camera, real easy to see. And that camera there, I can turn it a little bit and shoot it out. And if I want to shoot it out to my bunks, I can do that. So here, this was when they started doing the grill. And they were playing around with their plasma, or what's the other word for it?
It's a plasma table.
Yeah, plasma table, but it's computer. So then he had, this was one that they practiced with and were fooling around with, so we can have this as a sign. That'll be pretty cool, hang that up. But here's the lead. This was the lead man on the Skylar. They had to answer to him, to the project.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah. Nobody bullied you about the color either?
No, well, I've heard some colors, but...
Yeah. Did you fall in love with the color or not?
I've always liked wild colors.
So what was the worst part or the best part about building this thing?
I mean, each build that we do is a snowflake. None of them are the same. Some are similar, but it's never the same.
No, right,
so,
right.
I don't know. I like the challenge of fitting stuff that's not supposed to go together.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
The bale roller was pretty fun. And then this hydraulic system is kind of unique.
Yeah, the whole darn thing is unique.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, it's one of a kind. We haven't done anything like this.
No,
with
I kind of feel like this could be opening a can of worms.
For us, definitely.
I think so. I think so. I think people are going to see this, and I think people are going to realize that these trucks are coming out of service. They don't have a home for them. They don't have an idea for them. Whether they put a mixer on them or not, I think they're going to start thinking differently about these kind of trucks.
It's exactly it. It's repurposing things that normally wouldn't have another purpose.
Yeah, full 6x6, lockers, granny lows, automatic transmissions. I mean, they check all the boxes for live power. I mean, they check all the boxes for a cool multi-purpose unit, but we're limited on frame length. Now, we could stretch frames, we could do, you know, there's sky's the limit, you know, on your ideas, but it takes the right guy, and this place is the guys to build them. It takes the right guy to have the idea of what you want built, but give Chris your idea and then he will build it. Yeah, I can't get over it. It's like a show truck, kind of.
Satisfied so far?
Yeah. And I've been getting tidbits of films and pictures, which she's like, are you over there looking at those pictures again? Because I just sit there and keep watching this 40-second video over and over and over. Oh.
So nobody has seen any of this yet.
No. I saw the Facebook when you were looking for your job applicant that the mixer wagon had made its debut on the Facebook, but no sign of the truck. All right, we've kind of walked around this bad boy. We'll learn a lot more as we run it. We'll talk more about the Val Metal. Obviously, Val Metal is what we wanted because, I don't know, they're a great company to work with. The one we have has gave us zero problems. I just think they're the best wagon for what you get. But we're gonna quit talking about this for a minute. We're gonna tour around the shop a little bit with Chris. He's got some exciting stuff going on with a gearbox that he kind of invented. Would you call it invented?
Yes.
He invented it. You got a name for it yet?
Currently it's called the Magic Box.
The Magic Box, I like it.
I have a box that takes the transmission and puts the drivetrain directly from the transmission to the TMR mixer instead of driving the mixer hydraulically. But once you do that, how do you drive this truck? Well, we're gonna drive this truck hydrostatically. So this will have two modes of operation, drive down the road mode and mix and feed out mode. And what it solves is a couple of issues with these big, huge twin screw or even triple screw TMR mixers is they're horsepower hogs. From a tractor standpoint, you need a 200-300 horse tractor on a large mixer to pull it around and go.
Right.
Well, trucks, every truck out there is 300 plus horse.
But how do you harness that power? How do you get that power?
Hydrostatically, it's very difficult to do, very expensive to do. Hydraulically drive this TMR mixer, how do you move the truck? You're on and off the throttle with the truck. The mixer's speeding up and slowing down, speeding up and slowing down.
Wait a minute now. Explain this to me like I'm a 10-year-old. So this is going to send power hydrostatically to a transmission to make... No.
Let's start all over. So if you look in here, we got the automatic transmission. That's the input shaft to my gearbox.
Coming off of the transmission.
Coming off of the transmission. So that's coming from the truck's original transmission.
Gotcha.
It drives straight through here to drive it down the road.
Yes.
When we switch to mix mode and feed out mode, it disengages that shaft from this shaft and engages that shaft to the top shaft and the pump input.
Okay, here.
So that'll be the hydrostat drive pump. This will be going to the TMR mixer.
And where this is going to get hooked to, how will this get hooked to?
So that'll get plumbed to hoses, which will then hook to the hydraulic motor that's on the other side. So now that hydraulic motor, when this is shifted, the hydraulic motor is now engaged to the rear end through a gear reduction. Okay.
It'll be into this and be turning this.
It'll be, yep, only the hydraulic motor will turn this, and you'll have a joystick in the cab.
For like a hydrostatic combine.
You'll be like driving a combine. You'll be able to pick the perfect speed going down through the barn, and the mixer's running as fast as it needs to, and you can stop and back up and
just like a throttle on a tractor.
Just like a throttle on a tractor.
Because you'll be able to run that thing, and I want it at 1700 RPM, but I want to go 1 mile an hour.
Correct.
And the Magic Box can do it.
That's the Magic Box. It took me a while to find a manufacturer to build what I wanted and get it to the correct specifications. We had an R&D unit, which was a 2-box unit. We had to go through that process in order to get them to build what I wanted. And I've flown to Turkey to see this thing on the test drive. I've met the company owners. Yeah, quite an ordeal here.
The idea is amazing. And the idea, bare bones common sense, what we all want. You know, I mean,
correct.
You want like a tractor, but you want it in a truck.
Yep.
I mean, and this is how you have to achieve that.
Yeah, and the only types of tractors that would work equally the same as this is something with an IVT or CVT transmission.
Yeah.
You know, like a, I mean, John Deere.
And that's what they all do it now. The big new ones are all that way. You switch, you can get on the road, you can drive 55 miles an hour.
55 miles an hour down the road.
Drive just like a normal truck right back to the feed yard or wherever you want to go.
Typical RPMs on the screws is you want to get to 26 to 31, 32 RPM in order to get that feed to mix perfectly in there. And nutritionalists are really hot after making sure that they go fast enough. Well, there's limitations of what you can do with hydraulics. You can only get it to go so fast just because you can't get enough power on it.
Yes.
My test unit, I was able to turn the mixer at clean out speed, which was tossing feed out of the mixer.
Loaded.
30,000 pounds of corn silage, and there was feed flying.
Kind of like a ninja blender almost. Oh my goodness.
This is one thing going on in Maxville Trucks world. Obviously, we have a list of our standard customers of silage boxes. Manure trucks, pump units.
Now we got sand presses.
We have a sand separation system that we're currently highly involved in.
But this is going to be the game changer for dairies, big dairy.
It's for the guys that are going to continue, if they want a truck, a mixer truck, this is what's going to, be the deal.
We always knew that the horsepower was under the hood.
Horsepower was under the hood.
How to harness it was always the idea. Now, like this one, how many horsepower did we ever figure that we're going to be able to harness of that engine into that motor?
So at maximum RPM and maximum pressure, you would hit over 200 horse. Through the system. If you floored that thing and you turn it on and it hit the maximum pressure, I can tell you what's going to happen. You get a tight load in there and you turn that mixer on, that initial go takes the most amount of torque. As soon as it moves a little bit, it fluffs it up, and that torque just drops right off.
And I think this wagon was rated for like 95. The company calls this like a 95 to 100 horsepower tractor.
Yeah, and the PTO probably requiring 60, 70 of that horsepower. And normally they put a 2-speed gearbox on these.
That's the other thing. If you bounce it and pack it, you want to switch it into low, and then you just turn it on, and the tractor doesn't even know it.
100% automatic with this one. We have the 2-speed gearbox based upon the fact that we have a regulated motor. It's got the torque to go, but once it goes, it can shift up to a higher speed.
Yeah. This thing is wild. And this is the first one now that's...
This will be the first of the actual gear type. This is not the prototype.
This is the
prototype was a 2-gearbox system.
Yeah. What's the wagon going to be, this one?
This is actually going to be a Kuhn Knight on this one.
A twin.
Yeah, twin screw. Yeah,
twin screw.
1100 cubic foot.
1100, and that's a 25 to almost 30,000 pound load.
They'll put 28 to 30,000 pound
load on that thing. So aside from the trucks, obviously, he's got a manure business over here, which a lot of the dairies pit.
Yeah, that's really how I got my start. I mean,
you're right.
I did
pumper trucks.
Pumping manure, with little trucks. This is for a customer. So a customer overhauled a motor or had a company overhaul a motor a few years back, and they wanted to utilize it in a manure pump. And they went out and bought somebody else's trailer. I told them which pump to buy, and we are fabbing the trailer and the pump and the motor, and I'm going to do the computer controls on it, cooling system. Actually harvested coolers from Klaus Chopper.
Oh, is that what it is? That's big too. So he was in love with his motor because he had it overhauled. These pumps, where do these come from?
No, that's an industry standard pump. That's a
tried and true though. You've ran it for
That's a sand ready hardened pump. So 68 19 MPC. All that means is an 8-inch inlet, a 6-inch outlet. It's got a 19-inch impeller, and MPC just stands for the fact that it's super hardened.
What kind of volume are they talking?
This
they do?
configuration with the motor, they should be able to tickle 3,500 gallon a minute. I've pushed
3,500 gallons of liquid manure in 1 minute.
1 minute, yep.
Is this considered a lift pump, or what do they call these when they put them in line? They call
it's a booster pump.
A booster pump. So this will be
out in the middle of a field. So this customer, well, they could use it as a lead.
They could do it at the lead at the lagoon.
It doesn't make any difference. You can put them in.
But is a pump about a mile and a half, or how far will this one pump?
Depending upon the size of the hose and what they're achieving for. I think this particular customer has 8-inch line. They'll put a pump like this about every mile, and they'll get around 3,000 gallon a minute. Now, when they get closer to the farm and they put their pumps a little closer, that's when they're going to tickle 3,500.
Yeah, yeah. The electronic business is controlled that it doesn't just kill the engine. It'll shut the pump off, or how does it work when you need to?
Well, it auto throttles.
So it'll auto throttle.
So my software will auto throttle it. So it'll read inlet pressure, it reads outlet pressure, and we actually have cavitation on there also. So we're sensing vibration in case something gets caught on the impeller or an air bubble gets trapped in it. It'll actually throttle down based on that. But basically, you put this thing on automatic, you set your target outlet based upon your operating conditions. Rough ballpark number, probably around 175 to 180 PSI, just depending on where it sits in line.
Right.
And it stands there and idles until it hits that minimum inlet, then it starts to throttle up. Well, as it's throttling up, if that inlet drops below the threshold, it won't throttle past that point, even if it doesn't get to outlet pressure. That keeps it from cavitating.
Blowing itself up.
Blowing itself up.
You don't come back and wonder why you have no juice and you see your engine is blown. This one came with this kind of...
This one came with a computer control system. Yep, this is a competitor's control system.
Sure.
I mean, I don't really advertise, so it isn't like I'm competing.
No.
And
there's not a lot of difference either. They're doing the same kind of monitoring.
Yeah,
virtually.
Their auto throttle, the way that they do it is different than the way I do it. It's similar.
Achieving the same kind of goal.
Achieving the end goal is we want this pump to run at a steady state based upon its operating parameters. And they have phone access to this, and I have phone access on mine.
Yeah.
So these guys can pull it up on the phone and make adjustments, or they can manually run it instead of letting it run on auto. I've trained my guys, let these things run on automatic and just adjust them as necessary. Don't go out there and be tweaking all day long.
Because pretty soon your product changes or something changes, but you're manually tweaked at this.
You're manually tweaking. You think you know what's going on, but you're not out there to see all the see all the
variables.
For me to do this versus a truck pump, this is like $25,000 more money.
To do the trailer?
To do the trailer. When I do it on the truck, I just take the truck and put the pump on and hook my controls to it, and I don't have that much money tied up into it.
You might have a $4,000 or $5,000 truck or whatever you want to.
I can afford to have 3-4 of those versus one of those.
Yes.
That makes it. He tears this down, puts a new mechanical seal in it.
So this is the impeller.
Yep, that's what's actually.
So you can see what's in there. You can see this is.
And the key to these is tight tolerances in here. I mean, they want this tolerance tight between the back plate and then the inside plate. So this housing goes on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're pumping sand, this is all wearing out. I mean,
it's constantly.
You got an impeller spinning 16 to 1800 RPM in there, and there's a lot of pressure and forces going on, a lot of turbulence.
A truck mounted pump. That pump there is getting mounted up here, and what he does is you drive to your spot, and then you have to, like he said, you got to get your impact done out.
Drive shaft up over the top. He just moves this shaft up to the pump. That's all you got to do.
So the pump's going to sit up here, and then that drive shaft there raises up and gets hooked. Does that pull out like a PTO, that thing?
Yeah, you're only moving it
a little bit. And then here's the computer, the brain in here.
Yeah, so basically you put the truck transmission in high range, high gear. And we set our inlet and outlet pressure. So we'll set a minimum inlet pressure. We'll set a target outlet pressure. We hit the enable button and we hit auto button, and this thing will just stand here and wait till it has manure pressure. So automatically throttle itself. Nothing to it.
And then if something gets plugged or something gets obstructed, this thing won't just keep trying.
Well, this will read cavitation. So there's a cavitation thing on there. You just stand there and watch that. I'll show you what that does.
See that? Cavitation went way up, way down, went up into the red.
That'll sense air pockets in it or plastic gets in there.
What were you tapping on? Just the...
Yep, so this little guy right here is highly sensitive, accurate. I mean, it can almost read the pulses of the engine. You know, the firing of the cylinders, you can almost see it that tight.
Well, we got a little more tour around here. We can't just keep showing you everything, but The yard goes all around, and they're sandblasting back there now. But Chris, thank you.
Thank you very much.
He's going to be bringing the truck out probably next week is the goal right now. We got a drive line and a scale and a few other little tweaks, and we're off to the races. So,
and there sits another project. Just in the yard.
Another, what is that thing? A potato lifter thing?
That's a 30-foot long solid manure spreader.
Oh, that's a solid spreader.
Going on that truck with the blue tank. We got to make them so both of them work.
Oh, he's going to take that off and put that on?
Yes.
So, you got any truck questions or hydraulic questions, or you want to build something like this, or you got an idea to build a truck, this is definitely the place to be. There's no sense even looking anywhere else. Right there, link down below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.